Today marks 1284 days sharing lessons I learn and continue to learn with all of you. My hope these lessons will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today I want to speak about one of the most important topics of all, hands down, and that is asking for feedback, asking for help, asking for advice. I think that the best shortcuts in life, people are always like how we could really have a shortcut in life, how we could become more successful in life. I think this is the shortcut. This is the shortcut, the right way to ask for help. Now, one thing is that most of us are afraid to ask for help because that shows vulnerability, shows weakness. But I think that we need to really change that mindset, change that perspective, because when I see a person who is asking for questions, asking for advice, asking for help, that shows massive strength. He knows what he wants from his life, and he is willing to do what's necessary to get there. And if that means that I will show that what I don't know and I will ask for advice, I think that is the strength of a person. So if you have any kind of doubts of asking for help, any kind of, I think that needs to be rooted all away, because the most important part, if you want to achieve your vision, not in 20 years but in 5 years, the asking for right feedback, asking for right advice, asking for right help is essential to really shortcut your success. So today we'll share more about what kind of mistakes do we do? What kind of mistakes do we do when we're asking for help? Because I think that's there's very very common, and I think that we need to learn how to ask for help. We need to develop that skill sets, because if you do not develop that skill set, because if you never done that before, if you never ask for advice, if you never ask for feedback, if you never ask for help, at the beginning it could be feel uncomfortable, it could be weird, because that's how everything is. When you start something new, how do you feel? You feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar. So that means you need to really learn and start from small things, ask for small advice, and then of course get bigger and bigger and bigger. And after that, you ask really amazing feedback questions. So that's a skill set that we need to develop. So today we'll share 8 common mistakes that we do with asking for help. So number one is being vague and unclear. Vague and unclear. And it might be that, let's say about you did a presentation, and you ask for feedback about the presentation. How was my presentation? So that means that it's quite vague what you specifically want to really feedback on. Did you want to about my body language? Do you want my about communication? Do you want about anything else? Do you want about topic? There's so many areas that a person could go to. The person who really asks here's a question who go so many directions. And we don't need that person to put in that position, and he needs to start to think about, okay, which direction I'm supposed to go to, because it's a massive load on cognitive power to really think about what kind of feedback is supposed to go on all aspects of that presentation. But now let's say that she said it. There was at 5 10 minutes. Do you remember the point when they mentioned about this and this and this? How that point landed? How that did you find it useful? So it's specific, very specific about what you're looking from that feedback. So if you were struggling about something, and be very specific. It could be anything in 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 any kind of work setting. So that means it could be that something happened for an hour and you were thinking and reflecting on that 1 minute. So ask about that 1 minute, not ask about 1 hour. Ask about 1 minute specifically that you're looking for feedback on. Be very specific and clear exactly what you want. It's very, very important. I think that is one of the biggest mistakes. And when I think about feedback, we're just asking too vague and clear, and a person struggling to give a feedback, and sometimes we can put blame on another person. Oh, he's not able to give a great feedback, even though we were we set up that person to fail because he didn't ask properly. Number two is asking too broadly. So that means that, let's say the same example, presentation. I say, how was my communication? So that means that communication. Okay, so there are so many aspects of communication. There is volume, there is speed, there is a pace, there is a melody, there's so many things about communication that could be looked at. So that means we need to be very specific about what kind of communication do you want to improve. When you say that, oh, I'm working now on my melody, or I'm working on my pacing of my speech. How was my pacing during the this presentation? So that means a person starts to think about, okay, I'm looking in one thing of communication, and will give you feedback on that one thing. And if I think that is exactly the same with every single aspect. We need to again look into what we're asking on, and specifically like let's look into any kind of career accounting. How I do with that? Asking a specific one part of that accounting that I want to improve now, or it could be any kind of topic. Basketball is a massive game. What specifically you want to improve right now about playing basketball? Dribbling, like defense, or I think that any kind of way there's very big, and then we need to dumb it out into one aspect, simple down on that success. Number three is seeking validation, not help. Because exactly the same example, like asking for feedback about presentation. Sometimes we're seeking validation, not help. And I think that we need to understand like, why are we asking this question? Do you really want that question? Because I think that that's where assholes most of the time are. They ask just to ask because everything goes to the hole. Because they're asking, okay, I have a made decision, and I ask, what would you do in this situation? And they're waiting for validation, not to change their mind, because they already made a decision, but they're asking for advice, not to get advice on, but just to get validated on their decision. And that's a massive mistake. We need to learn how to really ask for advice, get that input, and then make decision, not vice versa. Number four is getting defensive. Asking for advice, and then when some person says something, oh right, no, but gives excuses and they explain why you did it. Like nobody cares why you did it. This is what you did. I'm guilty of that as well. Like I'm not any different, and I needed to learn that to really reflect. Really, I think that that's again. I think that's one thing we need to when you get the feedback, we need to really not allow ourselves to speak for a minute at least, and give ourselves time to reflect. Is that true? What happened? And really give yourself those excuses for yourself. And really battle those excuses because if you're giving excuses we cutting the tie with the person that we giving those excuses to because it's too much work for other person to overcome your excuses. If you came to us for advice, if you came and asking for help, other person doesn't want to go all the challenges to go through those excuses to really help you. His desire person who gives you feedback is to help. But sometimes it's just too much work to go over those excuses and really explain that those excuses are just not wanting to change, going going against the change and wanting to stay the same. And that's how it is. Like we want to stay the same, and our brains will try to protect our safety comfort, but we need to learn ourselves to say that that's a great feedback. I will reflect on that, and I will look into what I'm able to change. That's all. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do. Accept it. That's an interesting perspective. I will need to reflect on that, and I will look what I'm able to change, and then come back later without without excuses and really what you're able to do to change. Number number five, and I think that this is again very common, is asking the wrong person. We're asking the wrong person. That means we asking a person who cares about us rather than asking for a person who really knows what they're talking about. So that means that let's say that probably the easiest example if would you go to your mom to ask how to play basketball if you want to play basketball, or you will go to Michael Jordan to ask how to play basketball? Of course, Michael Jordan. We want to ask for experts. So that means exactly in life is supposed to be. You want about finances. So that means who is in your life who knows exactly about the finances, not who cares about you, but person who has credibility in this field. This is so common. We say that we asking for advice from people that are closest to us, not the right people based on their knowledge and expertise and wisdom. So I think that the number one, when you have a problem, we need to ask not who closest to me and that I can ask advice, is who has expertise. It might be that in your circle there's no people who has expertise. That it means what do we need to do? No, we not go. Oh, like I will ask someone from my friends. I think that you might know something. I need to understand if they know. If not, really go outside of the circle, find the person who has expertise, and really ask for advice. Then I think that's the number six is not giving enough context. I think that we need to understand that when we're asking for advice, for feedback and advice, we need to ask exactly what specifically I want to get out of it. We need to really have that context of why we're asking and what we want to improve. I think it's that because when we have that vision in mind, person could really review their feedback and they know what they need to tweak to really for you to get there. I think the very common mistake in feedback is that we do not ask what we're trying to get out of it, where we want to go. Because if we do not know where, because for example, if you want to ask about communication, so you want to ask communication because you want to really keep doing like presentations in front of 1 to 5 people, or do you want to really improve communication? You could do communication and presentation in front of 5,000 people. There will be a big difference. So knowing that goal in mind, of course, will make a difference in their feedback. So we need to be very specific what we're trying to achieve with asking that advice. So giving that context, okay, where we are after getting this, after we'll get this feedback, after I'll get this advice, or after I get this help, this is where I'm going. This is what my expectations are with that. I think that's very important. Number 7, and this again is a very big mistake, is failing to follow up on advice. Failing to follow up on advice or apply advice. I think that this is one very common mistake. So when you really get amazing feedback and you implement it and it worked, what do you need to do? You come back and share it and share it and share what worked. That means that it's great that you're able to do that. Now, if you implemented the advice and it didn't work, go back and share it. I think that you're able to really, because maybe something is different with your life. Maybe things that how you do is different. So other person is able to really adjust the feedback, adjust the advice that it could work for you. It will help that person to really learn, and it helps you. So it doesn't matter. We need to really learn. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that people do, and I think that is why people feel stuck in procrastination. They ask exactly the same advice. They ask exactly the same feedback from 2, 3, 4, 5 people. That's the biggest mistake. Because now, like, those 2, 3, 4 people will say total different direction feedback, and you just stuck in the middle. I don't know which one to follow, which person to follow. The best advice is just choose one person, ask for advice, implement it. The worst case scenario, if it doesn't work, you go to other person and then implement their advice. But first thing, choose one person, ask for advice, implement advice, apply advice, come back and share what happened. That's the best way. And last one, number 8, is over asking without giving. I love that analogy is that in breathing, you breathe in, you breathe out. So that means you're not able to breathe in all the time. You need to breathe out sometimes. So I think that is very important to understand that if you're able to take and take and take, sometimes we need to give, give, and give. How you give? You don't have the finances, you don't have anything. You have the most powerful tool ever, and that is gratefulness. Being able to be grateful for the feedback. And I think that one of the biggest things is that we really share what happened. That shows that it works, so that other person gets pleasure, meaning, fulfillment from helping you to really get to another level. Because I think that so many people really want to help people. So many people want to really see other people succeeding. That's why being able to share your wins to other person who really actually helped you is a massive fulfillment for them. And that is how you give back. So I hope that you reflect on that, because I hope that you, when you get the feedback, you always go back and share what really happened with that. So I hope that you reflect as well, because I said that this topic is hands down one of the most important topics of all, because it allows us to shortcut the things in life to get moving towards the direction that we want. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.